Approaching Judge Main.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ellis, good morning, sir. I do find probable cause. Count 1, trafficking in oxycodone, 25 grams, but less than 100 grams. Count 2, possession with intent to sell or deliver alprazolam or Xanax. Count 3, possession with intent to sell or deliver amphetamines. Count 4, possession with intent to sell or deliver heroin. Count 5, possession with intent to sell or deliver cocaine. Count 6, possession with intent to sell or deliver amphetamine. Count 7, drug paraphernalia. Count 8, traffic infraction regarding driving on the wrong side of the road. Not for me. Count 9, possession with intent to sell or deliver fentanyl. Count 10, possession of weapon or ammunition by convicted felon, completely separate incident date, signed warrant regarding a shooting involving Mr. Ellis and Ms. Worrell. First to you, ma'am.
Your Honor, the defendant is currently out on pre-trial in case number 213153 CFNA. Count 1, possession of a weapon or ammunition by convicted felon. Count 2, distribution or delivery of cocaine. Count 3, resisting officer without violence. This time we're going to request a revocation of his incident case. He also posted a total bond of $11,000. Bond on count 1 and 2 were set at $5,000 each. Bond on count 3 was set at $1,000.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I am going to grant pretrial's request. He's going to be held no bond on 213153 CF10A. Charges are firearm by felon, delivery of cocaine, and resisting without violence. Mr. Linder, first to you on the other counts, sir. I know that the reports indicate he has a 2008 conviction for second-degree murder.
That's correct, Judge. Your Honor, I'm asking that the court keep all the bonds in place, including the bond that Judge Bailey set on the arrest warrant, noting that he also has a pending possession of firearm, unlawful possession of firearm offense that you just revoked his pretrial on. That is correct, Your Honor. And he had a 2007 murder in the second degree that he was convicted on. He violated probation. He was sentenced to 12 years in Florida State Prison. He was just released February 15th of last year. That is why, Your Honor, even though the court is revoking this pretrial, I do believe he poses a danger to the community if he is released under any circumstances. So should he be eligible for release on the trafficking case and or the firearm offense, I would also ask that he be again supervised by pretrial with a GPS monitor level 1, no possession of any firearms, weapons, or ammunition. Nothing further.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
Judge, I understand the court revoked his release on the pending case. He's going to have to go in front of his division judge to seek some sort of relief. If he does manage to seek some sort of relief, he would like this court to address count number 1. There's no way he's going to be able to afford $500,000 bond. I believe the state wanted to have him supervised on level 1. We would have no objection with that, but we would ask also in exchange for level 1 if a bond reduction from $500,000 to $50,000. I know in speaking to Mr. Ellis, he did advise me. He is employed. He's a musician. Doesn't get paid all that much. So that's the basis of why we're requesting a bond reduction of $50,000 rather than $500,000.
All right, thank you. I understand your request. That will respectfully be denied, not only based on the prior murder conviction for which he was just released from Florida State Prison last year, but also his confession to being a drug dealer. I'm leaving the bonds in place with pretrial release level 1 with a GPS should he post bond, strict house lockdown. You cannot possess any firearms, weapons, or ammunition while your case is pending. And I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you during the pandemic, Mr. Ellis. Once COVID is over, you will need to reapply to make sure they keep representing you. I will reduce however, count 7 and ROR because it's a drug paraphernalia. Good luck to you, sir.
Your Honor, that's both cases, correct?
I'm sorry, ma'am?
Both cases, because count 10 is the AF warrant.
Yes, on both cases. On count 10, on that case as well, it's also pretrial release level 1 on all cases, all counts.
No firearms, weapons, or ammo.
Yep, I already said that too. Okay, so it's counts 1 through 7 and 9 through 10. All right, so that's for all counts of firearms. Okay, so next on page 18 is Mr. Ruddock, who's refused, but we're proceeding without him. I do find probable cause for burglary of an unoccupied conveyance unarmed. Counts 2 and 3 are pretrial warrants. He's being held no bond on. So with regards to count 1, Mr. Linder, first to you.
Recommending a $1,500 bond, no victim contact, no return, Judge. Ms. Cooper, does count 3 need to be deleted? Because it's one case with 2 counts, and I believe the THC was declined.
It's on Reddit?
Yes.
Yes.
Already voted on the vote on the possession of THC.
So what do you want to do on count 3, ROR?
No, it's not for magistrate anyway. You don't have to.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Romero, did you need to be provisionally appointed?
Yes, Judge, we're just asking to be provisionally appointed on Mr. Roddick's behalf.
All right, thank you. So I don't know if you heard that, but count 3 was declined, the possession of THC, so that'll be removed on the sheriff's website. So you'll have to go before his division judge on count 2 still, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So on count 1, I will set bond in the amount of $1,500 with an order of no return, no victim contact, direct or indirect. And also I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent him during the pandemic. Next is Mr. Rawls on page 19. All right, Mr. Rawls, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Do you find probable cause for resisting without violence and possession of weapon or ammunition by a convicted felon? Mr. Linder, first to you, sir.
Judge, I'm recommending a $5,000 bond, no firearms, weapons, ammunition. His history: 2015, resisting without violence; 2012, felony battery due to prior convictions; 2011, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and battery; 08, delivery of cocaine, possession of cocaine, 16-month state prison; 05, violation of a protective injunction order; 05, another violation of a domestic violence injunction; 3 possessions of cocaine between 98 and 02, and an escape in 2000. Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Romero.
Judge, he's been residing here in our community his whole entire life. He is employed, been working for the same company for the past year. It's a company that I believe maintains the walls around I-95. He only gets paid about $12 an hour. He lives locally here in Pompano Beach, where he rents, does not own. He's been living there in the same apartment for 4 years. He's a breadwinner, paying about $900 a month. His girlfriend is really not going to be able to afford to post a monetary bond. He's asking for the court to consider releasing him on pretrial release. As I heard correctly, he's had no recent contact with the criminal justice system. I believe it's been well over 5 years. So that is why we're requesting pretrial release and to be provisionally appointed.
All right, thank you. I understand your request, Mr. Romero. Respectfully, that's denied. The allegations are that he not only possessed a firearm, but there was a discharge where it's alleged he discharged the firearm during an altercation. So I am going to set bond on count 2, the firearm by felon, at $5,000. Count 1, I'll leave in place. Sir, you cannot possess any firearms, weapons, or ammunition while your case is pending. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I will also provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you during the pandemic. Once COVID is over, you will need to reapply to make sure that they keep representing you. Understood?
Yeah.
All right, anything else on his case that we need to address?
No, Judge.
Good luck to you, Mr. Rawls. Next is Mr. Harden on page 19.
Judge, if we could put that on brief recall, just is using the restroom.
Okay, no problem. Next is Mr. We'll come back. Next is on page 20, Mr. Bullock.
Mr. Bennett, come on, please.
All right, Mr. Bullock, good morning. I do find probable cause for aggravated battery caused bodily harm or disability. Mr. Linder, first to you.
Your Honor, I'm recommending a $15,000 bond, no victim contact, based on the level of violence that he allegedly fractured the victim's orbital bone, and according to the probable cause affidavit, at the time it was authored, the victim was still unable to see out of his left eye.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
Judge, I spoke, Mr. Bullock. I spoke, Mr. Bullock. My understanding is that this isn't recent. He hasn't seen the alleged victim since. My understanding is the alleged victim is the one that initiated by attacking Mr. Bullock with the broom. Having said that, Judge, he just got a job approximately 3 months ago. He's a truck driver and travels within the Tri-County area. Now, he's been residing here in South Florida for the past 13 years. He's going to try and have his friends and family to help post his monetary bond, Judge. We were going to be requesting that the court consider setting a $5,000 bond on Mr. Bullock's behalf, Judge.
All right,
Your
thank you.
Honor?
Not only with the alleged victim's orbital bone broken, but as well as his nasal bone, so they cool off frontal facial area. It's also alleged in the police reports that this was captured on video recording, which coincides with the victim's depiction of the allegations that he was attacked by the alleged defendant and that there was no initial attack by the victim. So based on all of that, the strength of the evidence against him, I am going to set bond in the amount of $15,000. The conditions of your bond, sir, even while you are in custody, you cannot have any contact, direct or indirect, with the listed victim. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Can I say something, ma'am, Your Honor?
Don't talk about the facts of your case, Mr. Bullock. Everything you're saying is being recorded and can and will be used against you. Do you understand?
I do, ma'am.
Are you sure there is something you wanted to say?
Ma'am, I'm telling you that this, I don't know what recordings they have, but this guy literally hit me with the broom, Your Honor, and I was defending myself. I have no reason to attack this man. I did not know him. I'm telling you, Your Honor, this is not the truth. If you have in front of you, this man attacked me, Your Honor. I have no reason to attack this guy. I defended myself. The fact that I was able to defend myself against his attacks makes me look bad, Your Honor. But I'm telling you, this guy hit me with the broom.
All right, Mr. Bullock, I also see in the reports that further investigation revealed you were identified and suspected in assaulting the female friend who on multiple domestic violence incidents. So not only was there this listed victim whose face you allegedly broke with your fists, there was also the female that was present that you were alleged of being the suspect of multiple domestic violence incidents. So this, yes, Mr. Linder?
Your Honor, I also want to advise the court, I didn't see this looking the first time through. I'm showing that Mr. Bullock has a history of batteries. 2020 battery, 2020 violation of a domestic violence injunction, 2019 battery, another battery in 2019, and another battery in 2019. There is a woman that whose initials are BW that has a non-expiring injunction against Mr. Bullock from May of last year. And I am also showing, a moment, Your Honor. He does have a domestic violence related arrest, Your Honor, out of the state of Ohio, but they are dated going back to the 90s. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Based on that new information, once you post bond, you're going to be supervised by pretrial release level 2 with the GPS. There's an escalation of violence with 3 convictions for battery in 2019, another in 2020, and a violation of domestic violence injunction in 2020 as well. You cannot have any contact, direct or indirect, with the listed victim. Do you understand?
I do understand that, Your Honor.
Okay, that means no phone calls, no going where the listed victim lives, works, if he's still in the hospital, no having a family member or friend send a message to him, or any other means of communication I have not said. Understood?
Your Honor, I understand that, but Your Honor, I think that is completely unfair that I'm being charged $15,000 when I'm supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. I haven't even had a chance to tell my side of the story. I didn't even know that this was a case until yesterday, Your Honor. And the only reason I know about the case, Your Honor, is because I know that that's the guy that got in a fight with. The reality is, Your Honor, me and the guy got into a situation and I won the fight, Your Honor. That's exactly what happened. The guy attacked me. I did not attack this guy. And I just think.
What case is he currently on probation on? It says right here he was taken into custody at probation office.
I was speaking with Mr. I brought that up to Mr. Ndachi. We were trying to figure out, like, I don't see that he's on probation on anything. I don't know why he was at the probation office.
Judge, my understanding is, being Mr. Bullock, he is on probation. Basically, he was placed on probation after this alleged incident took place. He's been reporting. My understanding, Judge, probation, there's been no incidents. He's been under supervision, been reporting as required. They are aware of his job. They are allowing him to work as a truck driver and work within the Tri-County area. He was reporting, and that's where he was taken into custody. Judge, we're going to be asking at this time for the court, considering he's already being supervised, if there is going to be any allegations of violations, there are procedures in place. There'd be a warrant prepared on his behalf, and he would be remanded into custody. So, Judge, I'm going to ask the court to reconsider and not impose the level 2, considering he is working. And if the court did want to go ahead and add a double layer of supervision, then would the court consider standard pretrial as opposed to level 2?
Please, Your Honor.
Sir, you also cannot possess any firearms, weapons, or ammunition while your case is pending. Do you understand?
Ma'am, I do.
Yes, Mr. Linder?
Yes, it would appear he was placed on probation by Judge Solomon May 5th of this year, but just noting in response to Mr. Romero's request, the point of these conditions is to deter and prevent things from happening, not to have something in place should he violate court orders, which is basically the argument for probation, that if he does something, well, then there's some mechanism in place to take him in custody.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, I'm doing very well for myself.
File a motion with your division, Judge. Good luck to you. I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you during the pandemic, Mr. Bullock. Once COVID is over, you'll need to reapply. Next is Mr. Scalmato on page 20, who's refused. We're proceeding without him. I do find probable cause for possession of fentanyl and a pretrial warrant for possession of fentanyl that he's being held no bond on. I will leave the bond in place based on the same offense that he's currently being held no bond on, being a PC case today, and I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent him during the pandemic. Anything else on Mr. Scalmato?
No, Judge. We have Mr. Hardin back.
Okay, so let's recall Mr. Hardin. I believe he was on page 19, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hardin, good morning, sir. I find probable cause for trafficking in methamphetamine, 14 grams to less than 28 grams. Possession with intent to sell or deliver. I believe it should be fentanyl, correct, Mr. Linder and Mr. Farber?
Correct.
Okay, count 3, possession with intent to sell or deliver cannabis. And count 4, what's the trafficking amount for alprazolam, Mr. Linder? I'm assuming.
There isn't I don't believe there is trafficking in alprazolam.
Okay, so that must be why. So count 4, possession of alprazolam or Xanax. There's no with intent to sell or deliver either, based on that amount.
Your Honor, at this point, I'm just deferring to the arresting officer, considering the significant bond attached to the trafficking count.
All right, so I'll just find PC for as presented on count 4, possession of alprazolam, count 5, possession of drug paraphernalia. Mr. Linder, first to you.
Your Honor, well, I see no history, and certainly I can understand the court taking that into consideration for a mitigating factor. When setting bond, I would just ask that the court take into consideration on count 1 that even with no priors, if he is convicted of that offense, he faces a 3-year minimum mandatory prison sentence. Nothing further at this time, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Romero?
Mr. Hardin has been residing in our community for almost 5 years now. He is employed. He works at a place called Mini PETA. Been there for 2 years, making approximately $12 an hour. He lives in Oakland Park with his father. My understanding, his father does know he's incarcerated, will be helping him post his bond, but his father is retired and receives Social Security, so not going to be able to afford to post the $50,000 bond attached to count 1. We were going to be asking for the court to consider bond reduction to $7,500 on count 1, and we were going to be asking the court to ROR count 5 and to provisionally appoint our office.
All right, I'll ROR count 5, but the only way I would consider a reduction, Mr. Romero, is if he's on a GPS monitor.
Judge, no objection.
All right, I'm not going to reduce it to the amount that you requested, but I am going to reduce it significantly. Count 1, I'll reduce to $20,000, leave the other bonds in place. Once he posts bond, he's going to be on pretrial release level 2 with a GPS, so he can still work, but with a pre-approved schedule. Does your office need to be provisionally appointed?
Yes, Judge.
All right, I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you during the pandemic. Once COVID is over, sir, you will need to reapply to make sure they keep representing you. Good luck to you, sir. All right, so back to page 20, Mr. Stokes.
He's approaching.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stokes. Good morning. I do find probable cause, grand theft of a firearm, possession with intent to sell or deliver cannabis. Count 3, possession of cannabis over 20 grams. Count 4, carrying a concealed firearm. 5 is a capias on a resisting without violence. Mr. Linder, first to you.
Your Honor, I'm recommending an ROR in count 3, asking that the court keep the other remaining bonds in place, just noting the amount of cannabis that was located and just the firearm, the nature of the firearm offenses. I'm just checking to see if there's any history. Judge, I'm showing an open burglary, conveyance, and grand theft auto out of Palm Beach County from this year. An open resisting without violence out of Palm Beach County from this year. Obviously, the open resisting without violence out of Broward that he failed to appear in court on. And nothing further, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
Judge, I believe the state is, their recommendation was leave the bonds in place except for count 3 and ROR. Considering what we were advised of, that is reasonable. At this time, we're going to be asking to be provisionally appointed.
All right, thank you. So I will leave the bonds in place on 1, 2, 4, and 5, and ROR on count 3. Sir, you cannot possess any firearms, weapons, or ammunition while your case is pending. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you during the pandemic, sir. Once COVID is over, Mr. Stokes, you will need to reapply to make sure that they keep representing you. Anything else on his case that we need to address?
No, Judge.
Good luck to you, Mr. Stokes. Next is Mr. Rodriguez on page 20, who's waived his presence. I do find probable cause for his probation violation regarding lewd and lascivious molestation on a child 12 to 15. He's being held no bond. He's going to have to go before his division judge to answer to this these allegations. Do we have a date yet for Mr. Rodriguez's division judge? It's division FH. Would it be tomorrow for a first VOP? Okay, so he is going to be seen by his division judge. Let me write it on here. First VOP, Division FH on 7/15/2021. At what time? 8:30? At 8:30. Okay, he's going to be seen at 8:30 a.m. Does your office need to be provisionally appointed?
Yes, Judge.
I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent him during the pandemic. Anything else, Mr. Rodriguez's case?
No, Judge.
All right, thank you. Next on page 21 is Mr. Watkins.
You see the president right next to me, Judge?
All right, thank you. Mr. Watkins, good morning, sir. I do find probable cause. You have 2 signed warrants on counts 1 and 2, violation of community control. You're being held no bond on. Count 3 is a signed warrant regarding carjacking with a firearm or weapon. I also make a finding of proof evident presumption. Great, I am going to hold you no bond on that. Count 4 is I do find probable cause for battery on a person 65 years or older. Counts 5 and 6 are court orders holding you no bond on those same offenses. So he needs to be held no bond on the battery on a person over 65 as one of them.
Yes, Your Honor. I think that would ultimately is up to Judge Casey to decide what he's going to do in that. It's really not going to prejudice Mr. Watkins because you already did find proof evident presumption great and no bond on the carjacking, and he is still serving a Florida State prison sentence, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Romero, he's being held no bond on 1 through 6.
One moment, Judge.
What's he in prison for?
Ms. Cooper, do you have that by any chance?
Judge, at this time, we're going to be asking to be provisionally appointed.
All right, thank you.
And Judge, just for clarification, I know on the BOPs, I believe now they are seeing their judge within the 24 hours. Is that correct?
Yeah, he should be before Judge Casey tomorrow. It's division Actually, it's Judge Fine, he's on violation of community control.
I think that might be, I think Judge Casey took over Judge Fine's division. It just says Judge Fine because that's who is the judge of the division when he was put on probation. I think possibly.
Well, which division is this? Because I need to write it on here. Is it FY? It says FY.
I'll check again, Your Honor.
The warrant says FY, that is the Rockport division. So he's going to be transferred to the career criminal unit. All of these charges will be before Judge Fine in the career criminal unit. It looks like you will have a first VOP tomorrow, division FY. Again, the career criminal unit, you're going to be seen tomorrow, the 7:15 at 8, sorry. Which case?
That's on the card. That's on
I
the,
have a 2019 case, ma'am.
The 1993-812-10A. And I'm looking up the other case.
It's a division FY case, ma'am. It's a Rockport case. It's a career criminal case. It's not Judge Casey. He's not the career criminal judge. No, ma'am. He's going to be before Judge Fine tomorrow in division FY because that's who signed the warrant. The warrant says division FY. It's a career criminal case. He needs to see the career criminal judge. There's no order that should have transferred that case out. It's a lower case number. If anything, it would be the opposite. The new case needs to go to career criminal. So, sir, we'll see Judge Fine tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. on the 15th with regards to the first VOP, or actually violation of community control. And you are ordered to, even while you're in custody, not have any contact, direct or indirect, with the listed victim. Do you understand?
No.
That means even while you're in custody, you cannot call, send letters, have a family member or friend send a message, or any other means of communications. Understood?
No.
You also cannot possess any firearms, weapons, or ammunition while your case is pending. Understood?
No.
And if your division judge does release you from custody, you cannot return to the incident location. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
And I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you on both of these cases during the pandemic, sir. Once COVID is over, you will need to reapply to make sure that they keep representing you. So that needs to be, I don't know why this would be transferred out, but yeah. All right, good luck to you, sir.
Judge, I know you asked, did you still want to know what his prison charges?
I saw there was burglary.
Yeah, it's burglary, fleeing, eluding, grand theft.
Okay, thank you. Next is Mr. Zerlino on page 22.
He's here, President Judge, I may.
All right, thank you. Good morning. I do find probable cause for possession of methamphetamine and drug paraphernalia. Mr. Linder. Oh, sorry, Ms. Worrell. Sorry about that. I wasn't looking.
Pretrial is requesting a revocation and house supervision for this defendant who was released out on pretrial in case number 216316 CFNA. One count of possession of methamphetamine on the 4th of July.
July 4th. Okay, thank you. Mr. Romero, I'm not sure if you heard, pretrial requested a revocation. He was released to pretrial on July 4th, 2021 for another possession of methamphetamine. So Mr. Linder, first to you.
Just recommending that the court revoke his pretrial, set the $1,000 bond back on that possession of methamphetamine, and keep the $1,000 bond on this one as well.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Romero.
No objection, Judge. We're just going to be asking for a property order.
Okay, does your office need to be appointed?
Then a public defender, Judge.
Okay, so I will grant pretrial's request, revoke and set that bond at $1,000, leave the $1,000 bond in place, sign a property order, and provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you during the pandemic, sir. Once COVID is over, you will need to reapply to make sure they keep representing you. Good luck to you, Mr. Zerlino. Next is Mr. Brown on page 22, who's waived his presence. I do find probable cause for his 3 violations of probation or community control for burglaries, trafficking or dealing in stolen property, false info on pawn items, and another burglary. It looks like guns and drugs were allegedly found during an administrative search, so he is going to be held no bond. He will have to see Judge Merrigan tomorrow. What division is that? I need the division letters, please, so I can set it on the.
I think it's FE, but I'm not.
FE? Thank you. Okay, so his first of VOP will be tomorrow Division FE, 7/15/2021 at 8:30 a.m. before Judge Merrigan. And I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent him during the pandemic. Anything else? Okay, thank you. So that brings us to page 23. Mr. Bogman is a delete because it was set in error. Next is Mr. Clark on page 23.
Here, present Judge of Maine.
All right, thank you. Good morning, sir. I do find probable cause for battery on an officer, although you were only charged with one. There are allegations that there were two officers who were allegedly struck, kicked, or gun belt grabbed. Count 2, drug paraphernalia. Count 3, resisting with violence. Count 4, corruption by threat, public servant or family. Count 5, traffic infraction. Mr. Linder, first to you.
Your Honor, I'm showing priors for 2018 battery on a law enforcement officer and resisting with violence. 2018 resisting without violence and threat to specified individuals. 2018 battery. 2015 possession of cocaine. 2015 possession of cocaine. 2014 possession of methamphetamine. 2014 possession of cocaine resisting with violence. 09 possession of methamphetamine. 02 resisting without violence. Judge, based on the allegations, I'm recommending a $2,000 bond. I'm sorry, a $1,500 bond on 1, $500 bond on 3, a $1,500 bond on count 4, and an ROR on count 2.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
Judge, I spoke to Mr. Clark. I'm assuming what's also written in the police report is that Mr. Clark sustained a number of injuries to several officers that were involved in this incident. Having said that, Judge, he's not working. He's looking for work. He lives in Fort Lauderdale with his aunt. His family's going to try and get the funds together to post his monetary bond. We were going to be requesting the court consider a $500 bond on count 1. No objection to the ROR on count 2. No objection to the $500 bond on count 3. We were going to be requesting on count 4 a $1,000 bond, and we're going to be asking to be provisionally appointed on his case.
All right, thank you. As for the reasons I already said on the record, with regards to him allegedly reaching for the officer's gun belt, I am going to set bond on count 1 at $2,000. Also, there being 2 officers that he allegedly attacked, not just one. On count 3, I will set bond in the amount of $500. Leave the bond actually on count 2 ROR. It's a drug paraphernalia. Count 4, I will set bond in the amount of $1,500. And I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you during the pandemic, sir. Once COVID is over, you'll need to reapply to make sure that they keep representing you. You're also going to be supervised by pretrial release. So once you post bond, you have to call in the next business day before 11 a.m. because the drug influence box is checked off. So that means that you cannot use drugs and you cannot use alcohol while your case is pending. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, you're going to be randomly screened at least 1 time per week based on these allegations. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, anything else in Mr. Clark's case we need to address?
Judge, what's the bond?
Count 3 is $500.
The number you have to call the next day.
All right, go back to you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, next is Mr. Duravne on page 24.
Mr. Duravine, come on up, sir. I know, I'll call.
All right, good morning, sir. I do find probable cause. Count 1, aggravated assault with deadly weapon without intent to kill. Count 2, Mr. Linder, the amount says it's $250. What the officer claimed the $750 in business loss as part of the criminal mischief. Do you have an objection to reduction to a misdemeanor over 200? No?
No, Judge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Forbear. Defense wish to be heard. All right, thank you. So it's criminal mischief over $200. But less than $1,000 on count 2. Count 3 is missile into dwelling or a building. Count 4, resisting without violence. Mr. Linder, first to you.
Judge, I'm recommending a $5,000 bond on counts 1 and 3, $100 bond on 2. No victim contact, no return, no possession of any weapons. History, I see a 2000 out of Broward 2013 possession of cocaine with intent to sell or distribute. Resisting without violence. moment, Judge. Trespass 08. And Your Honor, he was arrested June 26th of this year under the name John Dodge for trespass, resisting without violence. The bond on his trespass is raised to $500. They also have him out of county hold for possession of marijuana out of Lee County. He's out on a total bond of $1,600. Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Romero?
Judge, he's been residing in South Florida almost his whole entire life. He works in construction. He lives in Hollywood with his aunt. My understanding, he's going to try and contact his mother to help post his monetary bond. She's a caretaker. What we were going to be requesting is on count 1, a $2,500 bond. On count 3, a $2,500 bond. We were going to be asking for the misdemeanor offenses if the court would consider an RR on those 2 counts. And we're going to be asking to be provisionally appointed on his case.
All right, thank you. Mr. Linder, what was the state's request on 3? Sorry.
No, it's okay. 5,000 on both the ag assault and the missile to dwelling the building.
All right, thank you. So on count 1 and 3, I will set at $5,000. On counts 2 and 4, the misdemeanors, I will ROR. Sir, the conditions of your bond, even while you're in custody, you cannot have any contact, direct or indirect, with the listed victim. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and that means that you cannot call, send letters, have a family member or friend send a message to the listed victim, or any other means of communications that I have not said. Do you understand?
Your Honor, can I ask you one quick question, Your Honor?
Okay, but before you do, sir, I do have to advise you have a constitutional right to remain silent. Everything you're saying is being recorded and can and will be used against you, so do not talk about the facts of your case, okay?
Understood, Your Honor. Your Honor, I just want to ask will the court please consider the aggravated pretrial release with supervision, Your Honor? I can't really, I do work, but it's kind of steep, and I really be thankful if the court would consider pretrial release on the last call.
All right, Mr. Deravine, I understand your request. However, the allegations are that you threw a 5-foot metal pole through the business drive-through window because they would not serve you on foot. So I have to take that into consideration when considering the safety of the community. And based on the randomness of this act of violence, I've already set the bond, so you'll need to file a motion with your division judge, okay? All right, so I will also order, in addition to no victim contact, no return to this victim business, and no possession of firearms, weapons, or ammunition while your case is pending. I will provisionally appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you during the pandemic, sir. Once COVID is over, you will need to reapply to make sure they keep representing you. Good luck to you, sir. Your attorney can always file a motion with your division judge. All right, so is that it on his case? All right, next is Mr. Amick on page 25, who is a second refusal, so we're proceeding without him. I do find